So we have started a new NFL series, and we'll talk about the top five players on each position and their best opposing position on the defensive side of the ball. So we can call it we'll call this series the NFL Top Five Time. So for our first week, we'll start off with the quarterbacks. So who are the top five QBs currently in the league?
Well, for me, the top five quarterbacks in this league, I'm going to have to rank them one through five. Number five, I got Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the most accurate passer in football in the NFL currently, and he's been that for quite a while. And he has multiple weapons, the best receiver in the league so far, Michael Thomas, top two receiver. And he's got a great supporting cast with Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook as their tight end. He's got a great running back who can catch and run the football. I think Drew Brees is also very experienced and knowledgeable for basically any game situation in any type of game. And he always leads his team to wins, and is a great locker room presence. So I think he's going to have to be my fifth ranked QB. For number four, I'm going to have to go with Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson, what can I say? He's just a beast, really, in my opinion. I think he's the most underrated QB because we all say about Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, but I think Deshaun Jackson really is that most underrated QB because I think had it not been for Bill O'Brien and his terrible GM moves, Deshaun Watson would be a top two quarterback in this league, and I think he will be in a couple years. But he's the most clutch. He's probably the clutchest QB in football. He always knows how to help his team to wins, and we've seen that since his Clemson days when he played in college. And there's not really much he can't do. He can run the football. He can pass. He's accurate. He has arm strength. He can really do everything on the field. And number three, this may surprise some people, but I'm gonna have to go with Lamar Jackson. It might surprise people that he's not a top two quarterback, but hear me out, because he is the current reigning MVP, and I believe he is the most fun. He's the player that's most fun to watch. I think that crown between him and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes with his great throws, but Lamar Jackson is just more entertaining. But he's not a top two QB because he just doesn't have that skill set yet. He's not accurate. He still needs to learn how to throw the ball better. So that's why my number two quarterback is Russell Wilson. Lamar, like I said, may be more entertaining, but Russell Wilson just the better QB. He can use his legs. He's accurate. He's the most accurate deep passer in football. He's just a great all-around player that's a great locker room presence as well as a 31-year-old veteran for the Seattle Seahawks. He's a franchise player, and he's a top two quarterback in football. And obviously, that leaves me with Patrick Mahomes at the number one position for the NFL. I think he's definitely the number one quarterback in football. There's really no explanation needed, but I'm going to give one anyway because he's the best. He's the best passer. He can use his leg. He's a great scrambler. He can literally run away from the defense 50. Not 50, but 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then just launch it down the field for 50-yard touchdown. That's how great he is. He has a great arm. He has great accuracy. He has great vision. He just has everything you want in a quarterback. And as a young quarterback, he's only going to learn and grow. Already being a Super Bowl MVP, and I think he's going to be the best quarterback in the league for a decade to come.
Yeah, some of your points I agree on, some of them I don't. And I'll start with number five, and it came really down to Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. And Aaron Rodgers is kind of getting older each year, and they also drafted Jordan Love, who's a QB also, and we don't really know. Aaron Rodgers is taking the spot now, but when the season starts, he may take the starting QB role, and Aaron Rodgers might be on the bench. So for that reason, and Deshaun Watson is younger, so for that reason, I'll take Deshaun Watson because he is a great player, and in the regular season, and with or without any players, he's still going to be a great quarterback, and he's going to help this team. And we saw DeAndre Hopkins got moved, but I think Deshaun Watson can still get it done and help this team get to the playoffs this year. And for number four, I got Drew Brees. And even though he's getting a little bit older, I think he is still a great QB, and the Saints still trust him because they brought in Emmanuel Sanders, and they have great players in Jared Cook, and they have one of the best receivers in Michael Thomas. So Drew Brees is also a very accurate passer, so he can pass the ball well, and he's very knowledgeable. He knows almost every situation. That's why I put him at 4. But at 3, I don't really agree with you putting Lamar Jackson there. I think 3 has to be Russell Wilson, and he's been really great in these regular seasons, and he only has 5 interceptions with 31 touchdowns. And I think he's a great player, but I think for Russell Wilson, I wouldn't say he is number 2 because I think Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are just better, and Lamar Jackson will still has will still improve a lot, and he could possibly be the number 1 in the future. And I think right now he's still better than Russell Wilson, but
Well, can I interject real quick?
okay.
Well, I'm not going to agree with you because Lamar Jackson, what really surprised us and brings us the entertainment from him is just the fact that he's able to run the football so well. Obviously, he had 36 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, a 6-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. That's really good, but the reason that happened is really because of his running ability, and everything's based off of the running in Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens are really a running football team, and because of that, it opens up his receivers, and I think that's why his stats were shown so well. But Russell Wilson's just more accurate. That's really the key factor in him being better than Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson will definitely be better than Russell Wilson in the coming years, but Russell Wilson's just better than him right now.
I don't really know about that because Lamar Jackson, even though you said he can run the football, I think that's what helps Lamar Jackson. He can run the football, and he can also that also gets his receivers open, which he can pass to, and he doesn't really have to be real accurate because they're usually open. And for Russell Wilson, he can scramble out of these defensive lines, but for Russell Wilson, I don't think he can keep it out. And I think the Baltimore Ravens also had a better record. I'm not sure. I have to double check that, but I think they had a better record than the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, they did have a better record. They were 14-2. I think the Seattle Seahawks were 11-5 or 12-4. But I just think Russell Wilson is a better QB than him. But go ahead and finish your top 2 quarterbacks.
All right, so for my top 2 quarterbacks, at number 2 I had Lamar Jackson. He is the reigning MVP, and he is still young, but I don't think he's number 1 because he still has a lot to improve, like his accuracy, like we said before. But I think he's still a great quarterback because he can run the football, and he can gets his wide receivers open who can throw passes to, and they can catch them. And he doesn't really have to be real accurate because of that, because those receivers are open. But number 1, I have Patrick Mahomes because he's really led this team to the Super. He really led this team to the Super Bowl and win it in last year or this year, or like that last year. For Patrick Mahomes, he's really been great. He can throw the ball well. He's a great scrambler, like you said, and he has an all around talent around him with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and he has the rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I think for Patrick Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Patrick Mahomes is obviously the number 1 quarterback. He's doing a great job leading the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, and I think that with Patrick Mahomes being the foundation for the Kansas City Chiefs, they can be one of the very few NFL dynasty for years to come.
Yeah, so since we talked about the offense, we have to talk about the defensive side of the ball and who can pressure the quarterback the most, the linebacker. So who are the top 5 linebackers in the league right now?
Well, I believe the linebackers are the quarterbacks of the defense, and because of that, my fifth quarterback, my fifth linebacker is Fred Warner, and his stats may not jump out. He only had one interception, but that was returned for a touchdown. He only had 3 sacks, but he did have 118 tackles, which is really good in my opinion. And along with this, the real reason why I rank him this high is because he was the captain of a top two defense last year in the league. I believe it was the best defense. But he led the San Francisco 49ers to that top tier defense, and along with Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman, and so many other players. And because of this, he's my number 5 linebacker. And for number 4, I'm going to have to go with Shaquille Barrett. Shaquille Barrett broke out in the 2019 season. He only had one interception, but he forced 6 fumbles. He had 19 and a half sacks, 58 tackles, and 19 tackles for loss, which is really great for such a young player in Shaquille Barrett. He's a great young player. He had a breakout season, and that's why he's my number 4 linebacker. But for number 3, I'm going to have to go with the best tackler in the league, and Bobby Wagner. He had one interception, one forced fumble, 3 sacks. None of those really stand out. But like I said, as the best tackler in the league, he had 159 tackles last year. He rarely ever misses, and that's what deserves him a number 3 spot on my top 5 linebackers. For my second linebacker, I've got to go with Chandler Jones. He had 8 forced fumbles, 19 sacks, which it was only zero point 0.5 of a sack away, half a sack away from leading the league. He had 11 tackles for loss, 53 tackles in general. And I just think this just shows that he's the best edge rusher in the NFL because he's been doing this consistently year after year after year. Now for my number 1 linebacker, I'm gonna have to go with the do-it-all guy, T.J. Watt, brother of J.J. Watt, the defensive end for the Houston Texans. T.J. Watt is the leader of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, a very good defense. And his stats were 2 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 14 and a half sacks, 55 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, and 36 QB hits, the quarterback hits. That basically means that not only did he get to the quarterback a lot over the offensive line, he also made sure that the quarterback often lose yardage or he got the ball from the quarterback, along with interceptions. And what really puts him in this spot is the fact that he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and that's why he's my best linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah, this is kind of a hard, or this will be there'll be mixed opinions on these linebackers. But for number 5 at Shaquille Barrett, I think he was a great linebacker for the Buccaneers, and I think he with Luke Kilkey retiring this year, Shaquille Barrett really Shaquille Barrett steps into that top 5, and I think he's really been great this season. And for number 4, I had Darian Leonard, and he's really been good. Uh, with he's been really good this season, and he has about 5 sacks per game, and he has 5 interceptions, and so he's really been great this season for for the for Indiana. Now for the number 3rd pick, I have Eric Kendricks. Now he's been really good for the Vikings. He hasn't really shown on the stat sheet, but he's really been a great linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. And for number 2, I had T.J. Watt. He's, like you said, he's had great stats, and he was really great for the Steelers. So I think that's why I put him at number 2. And for number 1, I have Bobby Wagner. And even though his stats don't really show as much as other players like T.J. Watt, he's still been a great player for the Seattle Seahawks, and I think he's still number 1.
Well, so obviously we had much more controversy for linebackers than quarterbacks, but for Darius Leonard, I would rather have Fred Warner because although Darius Leonard is a great linebacker, he was actually my sixth linebacker ranked. Fred Warner captained, like I said, I think the best defense in the league last year in the San Francisco 49ers because I think the Patriots had a much easier schedule when it comes to offense. And because of that, I just think that when you're the leader of the best squad in the league, you got to go with him ranking in your top five. Now for Chandler Jones, for your player, the Minnesota Vikings linebacker, his last name Hendricks, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there because Chandler Jones has been so consistent in his abilities to really get to the quarterback or get to whoever's in the backfield. He's I think he's the best edge rusher in the NFL. He has been for the last couple of years, and I think he would be the reason why the Cardinals defense would be one of the top defenses if only their coaching was better.